Sensei. It's been a while. I had my own terrible tournament. I had to move. This is my first stream in the new place. And my life is pretty terrible right now. However, it's got to be said, I got myself a great little room here to do my streaming, the chess. There's my little chessboard over there. I'll give a little shout out my chessboard. Yeah. So, like every time here on Endgame Sensei, what I do is I chat for a little bit while our friends and you get a chance to look at the position, and we always do a poll as well. And then we're going to ask them how they feel about this position. And then after this is all done, they are going to play, and I'm going to just take out these terrible headphones that make me sound weird, and we'll chat as they go along here. Who is better? This is going to be our poll. It's going to be very simple. White equal black. No big discrepancies. Just white equal black. And we're going to say, let's give it 10 minutes. Here we go.
Sure. Yeah, people want to hear about your tournament.
Oh, dude, I don't want to hear about my tournament. Well, so let me just say, before every episode of Endgame Sensei was taken from the Endgame Strategy book by Shereshevsky, and this time I was actually white in this position, and the terrible thing I gotta say, especially after I've been calling myself the Endgame Sensei, or the show's been calling me Endgame Sensei, is where I failed in this tournament was really beating lower rated players like here in like the third and fourth hour of play. So I lacked the energy, and I'm not going to make an excuse because I'm going to have to do this again. But the problem was very simply that it's an ageist tournament schedule, no matter which tournament you play here in the United States, because this round, for example, started at 7 o'clock in the evening. And I'll tell you guys, I'm an old man. I remember my grandfather, he used to go to bed at like 4. He would go to bed early and get up at like 4:30 in the morning. 7 o'clock, I'm getting ready to go to bed, my friends. It's over for me, man. It's over for me at 7. Anyway, so this was already like, I don't know, round started a bit late, so this is like 10:30 at night that I have this position. I still felt very good about it. Regardless of whatever you think the objective evaluation of the position, I definitely wanted to have an endgame against some dude. Okay. But let me just finish up by saying that I will be covering each of these games in various forms. But just want to state my general intention for myself is what I'm doing is I'm going over the games just round for round. So this is round 1. And I'm going to do it thoroughly. And then I'm going to show it to my coach, GM Alexander Golden. I don't know if we're going to get Golden on the show. He's pretty old school. He might someday do it, but I don't think he's going to come on the show. Anyways, that guy is an endgame genius. He truly is. So there'll be an interest. He'll give some interesting feedback to me. And then I will subject it to some computer analysis, but not really until then. Okay.
Yeah.
So,
hey Jesse,
yeah,
I want to tell you one thing about your absence.
Okay.
Which is that every week you were gone, Kostya and I dutifully practiced an endgame against each other.
Oh, good. That's good. Yeah, it's good, man. And I'll tell you, it's different than it used to be, because one of the things about this particular endgame, for example, is I'm not used to playing on this 30-second increment. So it's, your opponent never runs out of time. Never. Never going to run out of time. And it's just a different world than it used to be, with this. And the game can go on forever. It can truly just go on forever and ever and ever. But no, it's great that you guys did that. And I just mentioned that because I think it is something very useful to train. Okay, so by the way, actually, before I hand it over to these guys to give their thoughts on the business, I want to just say about myself. So I am back now. Hopefully, I got this new studio, and I'm going to do a bunch of stuff. I'm going to try to talk about the road back to 2500. I'm going to try to do some YouTube vids. Obviously, we're doing this Endgame Sensei. We're going to try to reboot the Dojo Talks. If you remember, I was doing some shows with GM Eugene Perelstein. I want to do more stuff like that. It's a little selfish of me, but that's kind of what I want to do. Definitely going to play the people. I'm going to reboot Chessable Quest. I don't care what chess.com says, dude. I'm doing Chessable Quest. And then when we get some tournaments again, I really loved the watch party we had for the candidates, so I want to do more of that as well. These guys are on me. They're like, Kraai, you're too unscheduled, buddy. You need, to give us a time when you want to go on. And I got this, I don't want to call it bohemian lifestyle, but I had a lot of stuff going on. Different lessons, all kinds of stuff. And so for me, it's more like cool if I'm like, oh, can I just show up, man? Be like, can I just start the stream now, man? And Pruess and Kostya are like, no, boss, you need to tell us exactly when, so it can all go down in the right way. Anyway, yeah, we definitely need a taste me emote. Okay, so here we go. Let's hand it over for David first. What are some of your intuitions about this position?
You want me to give an evaluation or just some thoughts?
Yeah, both, yeah.
Both. Evaluation, I would give white like 0.5 or so.
Mm-hmm.
Pleasant space advantage in the center.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. Black's doubled pawns aren't like a really big deal. It matters whose move it is. It's white's move. So.
White's move, yeah. Can I ask you guys a question? Do you see the poll, for example? I don't see the poll. I never see the poll anymore.
Yeah, if you go to like the Twitch chat, not in like OBS, but like on the actual Twitch, then
yeah,
you'll see it.
I never see it, dude. I never see it. I'm sitting right there. So anyways, yeah. No see El Polo. If I go to, I wonder if I go to, yeah, no polo. Manage poll, let me, yeah.
Yeah, you're really just at the top of the chat.
I found, no, it's never there, but I did, I might be an old man, but I tricked it. I tricked it into telling me, just telling me, but I still can't see the result. It just doesn't work. It doesn't work, man. Okay, so you gave me a 0.5, David? All right, Kostya, what are you thinking, buddy?
Yeah, I think white is slightly better as well.
Mm-hmm.
In terms of the computer eval, I'd probably give it slightly less, but I don't know. I don't really think about the computer eval. I just think, okay, white's pushing, so that's the evaluation.
Okay, good. I found a way to do it. It's you got to refresh the page, then the current poll comes up. You got to refresh it. Well, that was what you needed to tell me, buddy. You needed to say, hey, old man Kraai, you just got to refresh the page, dude. Yeah. I've been asking forever. Okay. Yeah, so we'll let this go a little bit. I want to give another announcement, too, while we're waiting for the poll to end, to give people a chance to vote as well, give these guys some time to think about it, is, and remember, whoever gets white has to know exactly what they're going to do. Next weekend, David and Kostya are going to be playing National Open, which I think as far as Opens in America goes, is the best American Open. Just in terms of strength and kind of like coolness, because there's other cool side events and stuff will be going on. The event I was in was well organized, but it was still like they had us wearing masks, which was, I thought, totally dumb, especially given that everybody was vaccinated. Any case, David and Kostya are playing each other in this coming Endgame. So I'll try to do some commentary next week when they're away doing their games. I think we'll have to see how many games are covered there. It's not necessarily the case that all the games were streamed. And let me just say, as a fan, let me try to frame it for maybe you guys would share this. So David's going to miss the first couple of rounds, but it doesn't matter, and I'll try to explain why. Because David's got the GM norms, but he just needs the rating. And so, for example, it's a huge advantage not to have to play every round. It's just way too much. And for an old guy like me, I got suckered into playing all 9 rounds in this last event because the guy was like, you're not going to get any special conditions if you don't play all 9 rounds because you're one of the invited GMs, that kind of game. In any case, David has the advantage. He's not going to play the first couple rounds, which might mean he's not on the big screen for the first rounds or so whenever he starts. But that's okay. And then Kostya's going for it, dude. He needs a GM norm. This guy needs a GM norm. He has to go 9 games. And basically what it's going to mean is he's going to have to beat all the chumps, which is not going to be easy. One thing I want to just tell Kostya and David right away is like the 2100 now is not the 2100 of a couple years ago. These guys are not dropping anything. This current game actually is an example. This guy played a lot of good moves, didn't really blunt, I thought made one positional mistake to get here, but otherwise played very solid. There's no easy mistakes anymore. There's no hanging, at least that was my experience, no hanging of pieces like as it usually used to happen. So that's the first hard thing. You get no points. Basically, if Kostya beats a 2100, it does not advance his cause to get a GM norm. It just means that he gets to go on to play the next round and maybe play a GM then, right? So you got to beat the 2100, and then you've got to beat some GMs, and you got to stay up there, because then if you go back down and play a 2100, it's just going to crush the GM or hurt the GM norm chances.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. It's not just about winning when you're playing down, but like, just if I play up in like round 2 or something and I lose, then I get like, and my rating average just goes way down for the next round. Yeah, it gets a lot harder. But I mean, for me, this is just going to be, I'm treating this as an assessment, right? I'm not expecting to get a GM norm. I think that's really tough. For me, it's just going to be, it's going to be my first tournament, like in a year and a half. And, I don't know. I mean, I've been doing a lot of chess. I don't know if I've improved. It's going to give me a clear indication of hopefully what I need to work on moving forward. Hopefully my endgames have improved in the last year and a half, because that's the one thing that's like just been constantly on my mind.
Right. Okay, here we go, guys. Are you guys ready?
Well, 1 second, Jesse. I just want to say, since you brought up the National Open, for me, the goal is just to show up and play a tournament. Like, it's not, it's not like norms or rating points or GM this or that or winning a tournament. Like, the first step is just to even show up, right? And then the second step is to play some games. And then, then you can start making some goals from there. But I've played 2 tournaments since my daughter was born in 6 years, and they were like U.S. amateur team events. They weren't they weren't that tough,
Right. Fair enough. Yeah, that's all.
Also, I heard they are going to be enforcing masks in Vegas. So for today.
Oh man! No way! Really, dog?
Yeah, I don't want to be uncomfortable when I'm there. I want to get used to it.
Good idea.
But let me just say, okay, I'm going to just sound off on this. So I thought it was obscene at the tournament to have us wear masks when we had so many people who were vaccinated. And I thought it was a very interesting experience, because when we got there, I was convinced that there would be a revolt. Like, people would just stop wearing the mask. And I was the worst offender. I rarely had it over my nose, but everybody else, they were rule abiders, dude. I was very kind of shocked. And it'll be interesting to see how in Vegas, because it's a couple more weeks out, and maybe a different demographic than the DC demographic. For example, here in Baltimore, you get people wearing masks like outside, vaccinated people wearing masks outside when it makes no sense. I went out to the county, though, yesterday, because I had to go run an errand, and out there was no mask. Nobody was wearing a mask. There's definitely some demographic divides about who wears the mask, and anyways, it'll be interesting. Okay, so I didn't like Paul 1E4. I didn't like to wear the mask either. And I honestly, I wouldn't have played the tournament if I thought in advance it was actually going to be masked up. I just assumed that by that point, at least if you had a vaccination card, that you would be, you don't have to wear a mask. Anyways, that was not the case. All right, you guys ready?
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay, so after I press this button, whoever gets white, which is going to be David, get ready to make your first move. And then they are going to take their mics out, and I'm going to take this thing out, and then we'll just chat as we follow along. I will post then also a link to their game, and you can play Guess the Move in their game. All right, here we go, guys. Boom.
Beaming high.
All right, so here we go. Get over here to the game. I'm going to post this link. Bang. What's going on here? How come I got my little, my business got squished? I'm going to fix that. Sorry, everybody. Let's go over here. Let's go over here. Yeah, and C4 was also the move I made in the game. Let me just say that my first intuition about this position was very much that definitely I was better. Mostly the king position. They didn't mention the king position. But I thought the king position would just ensure me a much better game. But it's not so easy. You got to play C4 to stop rook C4. And Kostya played rook C7 pretty quickly. But the move, either rook F8 immediately and then E5 or just E5 directly is a nice idea for black. Because if you fix the pawn on D5, then the king can come over to F to D6. So rook C7, I'm not necessarily thrilled with, and king E3 is fine. King E3 is totally fine. I think in general, white would like to play E5. Let me get over here so I can, he'd like to play E5. Oh, I want to do some predictions here, man. Nice. Draw equals refund. People are betting on David now. I don't like this little game we're playing here. Oh, David's got a mask on too. He's got a girly mask on. Look at that. We got the Black Knight Raider over here. It's hard to play with the mask on, man. I'm telling you, it's very uncomfortable. And they're going, and I'll just say, you guys can judge me if you want, but I was the worst offender. I just did not have that mask on properly. I didn't, man. I'm just going to admit it. It was not, that mask was not on properly. Not on my face, anyway. These guys are stinking it up a little bit over here. Yeah, the mask doesn't help. All right, we got new little sound things. I'm away for a week or so. We got a little ding, ding, ding things coming in. Thank you, Ped Parries, for the cheer. Nice. One hello. Yeah, Sombrero, I'm with you, buddy. Sombrero is also known as Cartier Tank, seller of watches, dude, of amazing watches on the Instagram. Yeah, I'm not down with it either, man. Not down. Big moment here for Mr. Pruess. King D3 would be the natural move, but it doesn't necessarily mean it's the best move. And the problem with D5 is, I think, to my eyes, it's E5, and then the pawns are blockaded. And I don't know if either player's really seen that possibility. My opponent didn't think about it either. And one of the things you're seeing as a problem here for white is like it's not really clear to know what to do. It definitely feels better for white, but it's not clear what to do in this position. We could think about C5, for example, but then rook FC8 is going to happen, or could happen. Oh, gratified. Thank you very much, man. We need some subs, dude. We need some subs. You know. Well, Steve, they're training, dude. They're both playing a tournament next weekend where apparently, this is a big surprise to me, but apparently they are going to be required to wear masks. And it doesn't make any sense. For example, I want to just sound off on this again because I shouldn't be sounding off on this so much. But anyways, so at this event I was at, the thing was that the governor had said you don't need to wear masks if you're vaccinated. So I was like, dude, well, I'm not going to wear a mask then. The governor says it's okay for me not to wear a mask, man. And it doesn't make any sense to me either why I would be wearing a mask. Any case, that was the situation. And I assume in Vegas it's a very similar thing. I'm sure the governor said, dude, if you're vaccinated, you're fine. So I don't know why they'd be doing this. All right, I want to say a couple words about this business over here. I think Kostya's he's courting trouble because now rook ec1 and c5 are going to be on the agenda, where at least white will be better. Another way to do it is to at some point play d5 and then, if e5, play c5. Kostya's apparently saying, and maybe he's right though, that even c5 is not that impressive for white. He's just going to fix his king. So one of the things about the initial position that's what's surprising to me during the game is really maybe black is just fine, you know? Maybe white's activity with the king and beautiful center pawns, maybe it's not that big of a thing. That's the kind of question I'd like to ask my endgame sensei, Alexander Golden, when I have a chance to do the lesson with him. But like I said, I'm going to do my own analysis first. It's an interesting point from Francis. Let me just read that out. In defense of the mask mandate, maybe some of the non-Americans didn't have the opportunity to get vaccinated and they didn't want anyone to have an edge. There were several non-Americans there, but in general, they were people who were trapped in the United States, such as international students. So I think they could all get vaccinated. The people who were not vaccinated were either because you didn't want to get vaccinated, right, because you were opposed, there's a lot of those people out there, or because you were a kid. And then if you want to, if there was a debate, I think it would be something about the kids being like, well, the kids don't have access to the masks or something like that, or the vaccine. You know, I kind of get it, but on the other hand, like the kids are pretty much fine with this, you know, with this little pandemic that we got going on. Yeah. But see, the non-vaccinated players are not at risk for those of us who have been vaccinated, right? So if we show a vaccination card, it's like, well, come on, right? Now I get it, if you're like walking down the street, you don't know who has a vaccination card, but the tournament organizer can definitely check that. That's very, very, you know, it's very verifiable whether you're vaccinated or not. Well, Gratify wants to go back to the chess talk. I get it. We're just talking about these guys because they got the masks on. Look at those guys, man. These guys are in training, man. They're in training, dude. And what I do dig about this show is that's very much what we're doing here, is we're trying to create some training. I love A4. I think this is great. And basically, the idea of A5 is really to knock out that B6 pawn and to create lines on the queen side. Of course, if we knock him out, we'll have a passed C pawn. So this is one of the reasons, if we go back to say, let's call it this position, I would have wanted Kostya to play rook fd8, king e3, e5, exclam, to fix the structure with, say, d5, rook c5. And then a4 is not going to come with quite the same strength. And black in some cases could even be better in those positions. Yeah, interesting moment for Kostya. I think this is definitely dangerous for him.
Busy.
Oh, did somebody?
I'm playing a match.
Oh, Mr. Pruess's audio is still on. I guess that's okay. Yeah, it's to hide their reactions, Taster. Chess Latte, buddy, are you playing any tournaments coming up soon? You're up there in New York, right? Like, you could even be playing the Marshall Chess Club events. Oh, Daster, I'm reading all your comments all the time, buddy. All the time. Yeah, Kostya's got a problem. Rook FC8 didn't really solve it. So he needs some kind of plan here. And honestly, maybe you still got to play E5, man. Maybe you still got to play E5 right here. If you don't play E5, it's because you're going to claim that A5 isn't that big of a problem, you know. To me, it looks like A5 is a problem. Wow. Adam the Irish guy is playing the Irish Championship next month with Masson. Huh, cool. Well, Zelmer, I got yelled at already because someone was like, be talking about the chess, not the mass. But I'm going to give you a quick answer, and that is because they are playing the National Open next weekend, and they want to have the experience of wearing the mask while playing. And it's different, man. I mean, it just feels weird. Honestly, I'll tell you another thing that felt weird, like not shaking a guy's hand before the event feels totally different, you know, not to shake a guy's hand. You know, fist bump or whatever you want to do. To me, in fact, that was like, I've been playing chess, I don't know, almost 40 years, and I've always shaken dude's hand before the game. Yeah. Anyways, that's why they're wearing the mask. And this was my sorrowful round one, where I did not convert against the lower rated player. Okay, let's talk about it. Kostya, as I said, is in a little bit of a desperation situation. Now goes for it with G4. And it is an admission that things have not gone well. David immediately plays the, let's call it, I was going to call it consequential. I don't know, consequential. That's not the greatest word cry, but the forcing A5. He could have even considered King E3 to meet Rook H4 with King F3. But yes, A5 is the, let's call it the thematic move. And I think Kostya's in a little bit of grief here. But it's going to get hot. The next couple moves is going to get tactical here. So here we go. That's right, Halgilda. We're like training for the heat here, man. Vegas is an open. Yes, very much so. And it will be a GM norm opportunity for Kostya. He's already playing it down like, oh, I'm not really there for the norm. I'm just there for the improvement and all this other yada yada. We don't believe any of it, Kostya. We know that you are there to bash some heads in, buddy. So, as far as I can tell, Kostya's in deep with AB, Rook B6, Rook G4, and then maybe just C5 from white, you know, because chess is an easy game. Start pushing. Maybe it's not so easy. Maybe it's not so easy. Now, if we're gonna, we could arguably criticize David a little bit in saying that if he was gonna think, it should have been on a5 instead of this move, because on the last move he had the choice of king e3, f3, whereas now he's kind of a little bit all in. Now maybe he's thinking about g5, throwing g5 in. I don't know. I guess you could. Right, so next weekend, I talked about this earlier, but I'll reiterate it. Kostya needs some GM norms, and David, he just needs the rating. Now, when we say just needs the rating, though, his rating has really tanked, like mine is tanked. Oh my gosh! And so, getting his rating up to 2,500 is such a long quest that honestly, he needs you guys' emotional support to even believe that something like that is possible. Uh-oh, did I get the spinning wheel of death? Oh man. Okay, hopefully I'm back here. You know, one of the things about my new setup, is my new streaming heaven here, is that I got an internet speed of a gajillion. So I told myself that I didn't need a direct connection because the cable's in the other room. But maybe I'm gonna have to like get an extension cord and do all that drama. I don't know. I don't want to, but if it's gonna go out on me like that, man, not gonna be cool. That's right, Total Cutie. David just needs the rating. And one of the things about David as a player that's kind of interesting is that he always played maximalist chess, which means that any tournament he played in, he would either crash and burn incredibly violently and lose a gazillion points, or he would win the thing. So there were several tournaments that he won the thing and got the GM norms, but he never got close to 2,500. So it's a weird thing. Whereas most players like myself is kind of like you got to 2,500 when you got the norms because, you were just inching up as you were getting the norms, Yeah. And right, Mitch is talking about the different players, and Kostya really, in order to do it, it's very hard to get a GM norm. Like I was saying before, he has to beat the wikis and also beat the GMs. And beating the wikis is honestly, I'm going to call it the biggest part of the job. By wikis, I just mean lower rateds who might not these days be actually weak at all. They might be super strong. And that's just, the nature of the business these days is that they're so tough, man. These guys who are like 2,100, they're not dropping the pieces, dude. They are not dropping the pieces. All right, big moment for David. He goes to c5. We're expecting rook g2 because rook g3 will just help the white king in. And I didn't take off David's sound. That's partly my own incompetence, but also it's kind of nice to hear him gasp and moan behind his mask. So on rook g2, which we're expecting, king e7 could also be played. I think king e7 is probably poor because of d5. But on rook g2, we like David's position just because his pawns are closer to the edge of the board and his king is better mobilized. Looks good. It just looks like a nice position. But on rook g2, it's still unclear exactly what you do because on d5, you can't do d5 because of rook g3 check, and the c pawn will hang. And by the way, let me post this again, you guys. This is the live board. If you want, you can play Guess the Move. We got several people playing right now. Top guessers aren't doing so well, man. The top guessers are not doing well. Pooh Bear, thank you very much. I guess I do have to be plugged in. What a bummer. Okay, so king c4. intending d5. Now, I just have one question with that, which is, what is David going to do on rook e2? What is David going to do on rook e2? Maybe c6, rook e4, king c5? That could be real spicy. That could be very spicy, my friends. Run those doggies. Then, the other part of your question, Pooh Bear, which was, how do you get a norm? You have to have a performance rating of over 2,600 in a tournament that has at least 9 rounds. And in those 9 rounds, you got to play some foreigners. And, something, and a lot of title players. So it's not just the performance rating. You also have to have the luck to get the other requirements. But in general, let's talk about the National Open anyways. In general, if Kostya is getting a 2,600 performance, he will play the foreigners, and he will also be playing title players. No way around it. There's just no way around it. That's what will be for dinner. Now let's talk about this critical moment. This is exactly how a tournament these days looks. You don't have forever. You just got 30 seconds. You got to learn how to play with it. King c5 is going to come, and the beauty of what David's done is that if rook e4, he has rook b7, and he's claiming that that is winning. It looks winning. It looks winning, bro. But there's still some questions to be asked. I think it's winning. I think it is. So David's thinking about, I don't think there's any alternatives to king c5. Maybe rook b7, but king c5 has got to be done. Foreign GMs are just foreigners. I think foreigners are okay. You got to have some foreigners. That's why a lot of these tournaments, they will give special conditions to foreigners to come so they meet the requirements. But like, for example, in the tournament I just played, there's a lot of foreigners here. And why? Because all these kids that are playing for like Webster University in St. Louis, St. Louis University in St. Louis, all the Texas kids, UTD, Brownsville, loads of these guys have very strong GMs from international players, and they all need to play. They want to play too. They're very hungry and tough too. And they, trust me, they've gotten better in the last several months. So they will all be there. There were past years you could say, oh, maybe there's not enough foreigners or something, but definitely now, there's definitely enough foreigners who are around. Okay, rook a2, not what Kostya wanted because he's blew a tempo on rook e2. Maybe we'll revisit that just a second. So if we go back, you would not play rook e2 if you're going to end up playing rook a2 because all the stuff White just did, he wants to do it anyway. So White is hugely mobilized in this fight, and we're expecting rook b7, and looks winning, this rook b7 move. Kostya would need a trick of some kind to keep playing after rook b7, because it really does look like it's crispy critters after rook b7. Zelmer's got the general plan. Rook b7, crack him, get in there. There it comes, rook b7. I think we might see a resignation soon. Unless maybe Kostya's got some study-like way to solve this problem. I'm going to give myself some light. It's raining in here. Now, one of the things, I don't know where Mr. Charlie Silva is. Now he's too cool now that he's reached 1400chess.com. But, before Charlie Silva reached that milestone, he would be able to diagnose my prostate every time I went to the potty. So I don't know where he is, but I'm going to have to take a potty break soon. And then I don't know who's going to diagnose my prostate, because you need musical skills in order to do that. And Charlie's got that. But like I said, he might be too good for us now that he's got that 1400chess.com rating. Oh, Charlie Silva's here. All right. Okay, good, Charlie. All right, buddy. Yeah, I'm gonna need some help in a little bit, buddy. I'm gonna need some diagnostic skills. Yeah, this is too much, my friends. This is game over. Yeah, for the most part, I like what David did here. I like what David did. Look at them wearing those masks, dude. Thank you, ChessDojo. I'm going to try to come back, dude. I'm going to try to do some more stuff. My life's a little hectic, but I got this beautiful office now. Moved to a different location. It's quieter. I don't know if you guys remember the last one. You know, the last one was just like non-stop drama. Rook b8 looks like the easiest to me. Rook b8, rook c8, snip, snop, and then rook h3. Game over. Classic win. Classic win. Yeah. Yeah, Charlie Silva, he's too big for us now, man. He's big time now. He's got it all. Well, Pruess, rook b8, buddy. There you go. Chess is an easy game. Oh, rook h3 with the finesse. With the finesse, buddy. Unnecessary finesse, Pruess. Take it easy, man. Take it easy. Come on, buddy. Just take the rook and play rook h3. You don't need to do this. Is like nutmegging a guy in soccer, buddy. You don't need to do it. I mean, if you have to nutmeg a guy, you can nutmeg him. But this was an unnecessary nutmeg, man. Come on, buddy. Dang. Chess gains in the dagger. I got to hang out a little bit at Chess Games last tournament. That was cool. He did well. He hadn't played over the board in forever. He was an example of a guy who's done some improvement, and then you have to face him and he's like rated nothing. Terrible, man. Unfair. All right, Kostya, it's time to give up, buddy. You're gonna play, I don't know. There's no more stalemates or anything. You got pawns to move, buddy. All right, there it is. I'm gonna plug in. Plug us in here. All right.
That was very tough.
Yeah. Jesse, rules clarification. Were you allowed to like drink water during the tournament? Like, can you like adjust your mask for a second to drink, or?
Oh yeah, dude. I was definitely drinking water, but like I said, I was the worst offender. I was the worst offender. Honestly, there were times it was just off. Or I would like go down like this, you know? Go down like that. I wasn't wearing the mask, man.
You like hide?
I couldn't do it, dude. I couldn't do it, you know. And I felt kind of offended by the whole thing too. Like I feel like on this with the mask, I feel like I'm a mask moderate. You know, there's like the mask deniers and there's the mask hawks. And I'm definitely not a mask hawk. I'm not a mask denier. I'm like, dude, if you're vaccinated, you don't need to be wearing no mask. Anyways, that's where I was on that. What I want to do here is I want to start an analysis board.
It was uncomfortable. I'm glad, Kostya, that you said that we should try doing that.
Yeah.
Because like I wear a mask a lot. It never occurred to me that it would be a problem while playing chess, but it was.
Yeah, it's hard, dude.
Different than.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, it didn't bother me that much right now, but over 4 hours, I feel like my idea is to bring some backup masks when one gets kind of gross, to just switch it out for a fresh one.
Okay, guys, I'm going to invite you to this board, and we can talk about it. Here comes Kostya.
Yeah, this was really tough for me because like when things get so concrete at the end, I just can't calculate anything.
Oh, I got too many. Mr. Pruess, where are you, buddy? You're on here somewhere. There you are.
Try me again, Jesse.
I got
just
it.
refreshed my connection.
I got it.
Thanks.
Okay, so let's say I think. Go ahead. Go ahead.
My impression is that at the end it was too late to calculate, Kostya, that it was winning for white when you were like bringing your rook to g4 and g3 and I was pushing the c pawn. The main plan I expected from you was to play e5 sooner in the opening to gain control of the c5 square.
Very good. Yeah, I think that's.
Then it's like very blockadey, and anyway, that's my like 2 sentence overview.
Good. I think that's absolutely right. Yeah. Same thing happened in my game. So, David, why don't you explain why c4 is necessary? Let's start with that.
If black plays rook c4, I've got like even less space, and a black rook will probably even go to like a4, a3, while the other one's on c8, and I'll just be all kinds of tied up.
I agree. Yeah, good.
If it were black's move, I would have like changed my evaluation like completely.
Yeah. So yeah, I think this is a very interesting position because I don't actually think white has anything, even though it looks to me. I would just say my first impression when I got here was like, oh God, I'm doing great. But the more I thought about it, I didn't think I had much. And again, I haven't looked at it with a computer or anything, and I haven't even analyzed it too deeply yet. But let me just show you guys what I think black should do. I think he should play rook fd8, kind of sort of forces king e3, and then e5. And then if d5, honestly, I think black could play for a win here. It's very surprising because once the king gets to d6, it's like, I don't know.
Yeah, you're totally right. Yeah. I mean, I felt later when I could do this, it felt too late. But here, before white is set up, it makes a lot of sense.
Like in the game, one thing I noticed in my own game was that if e5, because I was thinking about like what would I do on e5, and I was thinking maybe here, 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 here. I saw this variation in the game. Check to the miserable king. You know, I'm just with the idea that we're making his king bad. Something like this. But this is very hard to evaluate. A is hard to evaluate, like something like rook b7, and then he can't move his pawns, right? But in a way, black doesn't have to evaluate, because if you play rook fd8 first, right, then I don't have that option. Right, which is why I thought, you should play that black should, get this e5 in with after rook fd8. But okay, Kostya, I didn't think you were lost. After rook c7.
To be honest, I didn't really realize this idea of e5 until Kostya played f6, and then I was like, oh shoot, black can just play e5,
right,
and like give me that protected pass pawn. Before that, I was thinking of pushing d5 for white at some point,
right.
And then he plays f6, and I'm like, oh, like he's not wasting a move. He's gonna play like e5, and then I'm gonna get blockaded.
Right, and not only that, but like if he allows you to play e5, then I think you should play e5.
For white.
If and that's what ended up.
Yeah, I was wondering about that, and I was confused because my instincts kept telling me to consider e5 for white, but then I was like, but why? Normally I don't move my pawn past my like potential pass pawns. Normally I want the e pawn to support my d pawn and my c pawn.
Right.
I didn't even know why I was thinking it.
But you never had a chance to play e5.
Right, because then Kostya played f6, and I was like,
f6,
oh, now I could never play e5, so I can stop worrying about that instinct, but...
Right. Yeah. So I thought that was a good move, David. At least it makes sense to me. And...
yeah. I mean, I think he's still in time if he plays e5 for the next 2 or 3 moves, but I didn't have a way to prevent it, did I?
The question mark I have about e5 in a position like this is maybe you are getting enough juice with like de, fe, rook d1, or just rook d1, claiming that you have more activity.
Yeah, I was not impressed. Like when black's got c5 and e5 squares, and
I mean, I'm with you. I think that's why black should be thinking about e5. Obviously already, but right now. I thought rook b1 was cool. Yeah, I like that move. Again, though, he should play e5.
Yeah, so this is where I was... Yeah, I think I decided here between e5 and g5. Or I was thinking maybe throw this in first. And here.
Yep.
But I didn't like... I mean, maybe I don't have to bring the king to d3, but I didn't like this move.
That's what I was going to play. But I think
the weird thing is there might be a who's better and why question even here coming up. Right? Because like this endgame, who's better?
right. I think that I thought it was drawn, but I didn't finish like investigating it.
The easy thing to say though is it's not winning for white, right?
Yeah, it's not easy for me. King d3. Black just sits, huh?
Or well, king e7. Let me put it this way,
I have no idea.
The bad I'm gonna call it bad form about rook b5 is, nah, you don't want to do it, buddy. You don't want to do it unless you're really, really sure, and the risk to reward isn't that high, because even if he just say goes back or
right.
just sits there, you don't have to do anything.
No, sorry. So I didn't like this. It was in another position on the next move that I would have done it. But in this position, I was going to play here.
Yeah, and you can build up. You can play a4, and I totally think you're right. You want to hit him with a5 at some point.
When my pawn's on a4, then I would play rook b5 or
maybe even rook a3. Exactly. Yeah.
But I didn't really think I had anything here, honestly, if he just brought his king to d6.
I'm with you. I don't think you have anything either.
Yeah, I misevaluated this one. I just thought it'd be like passive defense, and I'm not a fan, but that's might be my weakness here in these endgames.
Well, okay, Kostya,
looking at it now, I mean, of course, yeah, much more preferable.
So talk us through what you were thinking with g5. How about that?
Just trying to create counterplay.
So you already had the idea, I'm going to play like g4, and then rook h4, rook h8, rook h4. Okay.
And rook c8 was to take the king one step away from f3.
Yeah.
That's fancy.
Okay.
Once I had the move a4 in, I thought I might have a small edge even in the e5 lines, because I can play rook b5 in one move and take some of the pressure off c4 and try and play for a5 a little more easily.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, once a4 happens, and then again I considered e5 here, but yeah, this one I really felt like, I don't know, I'm just kind of...
Here's where I would have played this.
Yeah. But, I don't know. I mean, yeah.
The thing though, right, is like e5 isn't consonant with g5, because now it's hard to organize the f5 break.
Yeah.
And if white needs to, especially in the pawn endgame, then he can play g4. Right? Still, that might be a draw, dude. Might be a draw. Like, you want to play a5? Let's just play king e7 for kicks, for example. What does white do?
Okay, so if I play a5 now, you can go back to the king and pawn ending.
Right. I think that might be close to winning, because I do win your pawn on a5.
I don't think you want the pawn on a5, because that opens it. I think you want to leave the pawn on b6 so that the white king can't.
That was my mistake too. I looked at this for like a second, and then I assumed I have to take for some reason, but no,
why,
I think that's actually a mistake.
why wouldn't you take?
Well, I mean, let's say, I don't know, g4? No.
Oh, I don't know about this, man.
d6?
It's gonna get hot.
Yeah, push.
Oh yeah, it's complicated for sure.
Well, from afar, it looked bad, but I mean, if I don't take on a5, that actually seems a lot simpler, right?
It might be. I don't know what's going on, buddy. I don't know.
Well, here it looks drawish.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. All I knew is that black wasn't going to have a problem. But like you said, you don't have to take.
Yeah.
But I'm with you, David. What else are you going to do? Right? What else are you going to do besides a move like a5?
Well, in this position, I can trade once first.
Uh-huh.
Freeing this rook. Right? And then rook takes, and then come around here.
I don't know about this.
Oh, sorry. Hang on. Let's do it like this. Rook here. Rook here, rook here. Then slide to b3.
I don't know. Maybe you got rook b5. I can't evaluate it immediately, you know. I don't know that's your only idea, right? And yeah, we're in a hell of a position. I guess the advantage for black now, or white now, is that he's got more moves to blow, right? He's got more moves to blow.
Yeah, I feel very nervous about entering any kind of...
But the good news for black is you don't have to. You don't have to play king c5 if you don't want to, right?
Is g6?
I guess, dude. You know, I'm scared. I'm scared for everybody. I'm scared for everybody. I don't know what white's gonna do. He has to play king. Actually, maybe a way to say it is, in order to make progress, you got to play king b3, and then whenever you play king b3, then I have king c5. Right?
Why? I'm still going to play rook b5.
No, but then I have king d4 at the end of it.
King d4?
Yeah, if you play king b3, right?
I'm going king b3.
And then king c5.
And then king c5, then I check.
I take it and I play king d4.
King d4, d6.
Oh, sorry. I missed it. That's why I lost the tournament. That's why I didn't win the tournament. Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's kind of moot because, I mean, g5, yeah, doesn't jive with e5.
G5 doesn't jive with e5, right?
Yeah.
So then the question is, are you already toast in this? Well, not toast, but are you toast after g4? I guess could be the question. And the answer is, probably. David, I want to give you props, dude. I thought the way you finished it, textbook, dude, textbook.
Yeah.
You also had the option to play king e3 here.
Yep. But you know, my chess class now tells me that I can just play a5 in this position.
What does that mean, your chess class?
I have enough experience with these things now that like I can play these moves that GMs used to play against me. And I know that the c pawn's gonna win.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree. I think because on king e3, I think I have this and like f5. You know.
So another thing is like I conserved like time and energy. I didn't look at this. I was just like, will a5 win? Yes. And then you know, I did some double checking of some variations with a5, but I didn't look at like getting involved in the kingside shenanigans.
Well said. Okay, good. So, okay. Now maybe
Kostya came up with like this very clever way to get counterplay that I hadn't seen coming, but I also think it like takes some time. So
yeah, it definitely takes some time. Let's take a look. There was one moment I think maybe we can try to improve Kostya's play. And
the main thing I calculated and didn't go for was g5 to sack the g pawn.
Yeah, we were talking about that a little bit.
And mess with the king side.
So I don't know. I think this is the moment because in this position, Kostya played rook e2, and then it ends up not you can't take it anyway.
Yeah.
So let's try something else.
King e7.
Wait, can we go back though? Because actually, I thought here I have a choice as well because I was thinking about e5.
Okay.
Oh.
I have to admit it didn't cross my mind.
Yeah. I blundered that move too.
But what I didn't like was I think just c6.
Yep. That's what I've got to do.
Also, DE looks strong too. I mean, there's nothing wrong with DE.
No, DE I go rook g3 check.
Oh, my bad. Yeah. My bad. Yeah.
And then at the last moment I was like, oh, this looks bad. So I took on g2 because I thought this was bad. And I think it is. I mean, I don't know. I have to take.
Maybe you're somehow surviving this. Okay, so take.
Yeah.
You have one alternative to takes, Kostya, which is you could trade the rook on c3 first and then take.
Let's try this though. King e6.
Mm-hmm.
No, it's not so easy.
Rook b7.
King d6.
King d6.
Sorry.
Wait, are we sure? Let's just make double sure that c6 is the only move. Because once you play, if c6, it really seems like the king is getting in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I definitely underestimated that for black, that I can just go king e6 quickly. And not just, I don't know, guess I thought I just have to play with my rooks for some reason.
Huh. How about just simply rook c2?
Evil.
Right. So at the minimum, I can make a claim about being clearly better.
Yeah.
We check and take.
I guess, yeah.
This way. I mean, definitely better than the game, right?
Well, okay. I have one more question about the game, but yeah, this is like either clearly better for white or winning. But here's the thing about the game. Let me ask. We can come back to this. So in this position, Kostya, you played rook e2, which amounts to a loss of a tempo, right?
Right.
So let's pause for a moment and see if we can find something better. Let's just try the simplistic. Let's see. I don't know if I want the simplistic. So king e7, we're playing d5, right?
Yeah.
It's rough. No, it doesn't look good, does it? No, that's just no fun. That's just no fun. I don't see any other ideas for black. But definitely rook e2 makes it a lot easier, but I don't. I mean, the advantage of rook e2, right, is I guess you're forcing c6, even though that's really kind of what white wants to do in a lot of ways anyway, but yeah, okay. So right, it's you're right, Kostya. You're like, this is your last chance to do something.
Yeah.
But okay, I mean, the bigger mistake, yeah, is just, I guess, choosing the wrong plan just out of the opening.
Right, and then G5. I think I still think you're totally in the game here. You know.
Oh, that's what I meant, like choosing G5 plan instead of the blockade.
Right. Mm-hmm. And honestly, even sitting here, I think is going to be hard for white to crack. You know, like if you just play, say, King E7. Still, it's very difficult for white. Let's say we do this kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say we take it. And try to get... Oh, don't try too hard, Kraai. Maybe. All right, let me try again. So maybe... All right, Rook H8.
Yeah. I've only got one idea. I'll keep doing it.
Rook H4. I kind of only have one idea, too.
Okay. I'll find out what it is.
You're gonna find out what it is. Okay, so... So either F5 now or BA first.
I can say from my perspective, I don't care if you have A pawns on the board or not. It's almost like losing a tempo to me.
I mean, the rook coming to B6 is a nice spot for your rook, too.
What happens on F5 here? That seems interesting.
All right, so that was my intention. All right, either that or BA. I was conflicted. Wait. Yeah, David, you got to decide first, buddy.
What? It's your guys' decision. I'm taking on B6.
You're going to give us that? Why don't you take on F5?
I don't care about that.
Okay. Because E5's coming. E5's coming. It's going to hurt a little bit.
Rook D7?
What I missed was Rook D7.
But E5's also a pain in the butt.
This is also a problem.
Oh, yeah, Rook D4. Yeah. Fair.
Okay. Now I know to care.
Yeah, you're like, I don't care. So, yeah, I think you got to take that thing. Right? Boom.
That's not going to help me. Hang on. Let's go
Okay.
problem. As the fourth rank opens up for the rook, like, I don't care about the king side pawn count. I'm just like, I'm losing control of what I need.
Yeah, this was kind of my idea with like G5, G4, but I don't need G5, G4. Should have just put the rook here. Anyway.
I'm going to E5.
You mean pawn E5 or something?
No.
Oh, you're going to rook E5. Okay.
Yeah.
I have a Mexican friend who says that rooks in the center are shit. He does. That's what he says. So, all right, King F6.
King F6.
I don't know. So what are you doing? You're threatening to go back to B5 or something?
I don't know yet. I'll tell you when I figure it out.
Okay.
For the moment, I'm just asking you questions about the A pawn and the E pawn.
I'm willing to believe you're still better. You got rook F3 as a threat at some point. I mean, I don't know if it's a threat actually, but
I love that you did something so I didn't have to come up with something to do.
maybe I shouldn't have done anything.
Yeah, do we have to take on E4 for black?
You don't have to. You don't have to. Let's go back here.
Because well, if BA, what's White's plan from there?
We could try BA.
Ooh, thank you for doing something else.
And let's say like G5.
guys have a plan for that G pawn?
We're kind of wondering what you're up to, buddy.
Yeah, my next move will be a4.
Cool.
Take.
What was the intention of G5, Kostya? I actually, we want to play that. Okay.
Oh, good old G4.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, this definitely feels much better than the game again.
But anyways, just to recap, so Rook H8 for Rook H8 is just a different way of the mini, just to claim that black can sit, with, it's not really sitting, but, without committing to either G5 or E5 rather.
Yeah, no, I think it's actually faster with the counterplay because this F5 idea seems pretty annoying.
Yeah,
Right.
you've got two different ways of using the rook on H4.
Right.
That's cool. I do believe that I'm winning here in this version. I mean, just instinctively, I haven't calculated anything good.
I understand where you're coming from when you say that, yeah. But I also think rooks in the center are shit.
Yeah. I thought that was just somebody else's opinion.
I'm pretty sure it's chapter 13 of Endgame strategy.
Okay, Kostya's gonna take the rook, I assume.
Yeah.
Los Rocos en el centro son mierdas. That's my friend, international master Julian Estrada Nieto de Mexico. I've known that guy since he was a kid.
This is very tricky.
Now, Kostya, you got more pawns than David. I didn't notice it until now.
He does
Yeah.
not.
Not for long.
Yeah, where are you going, David? Oh, give him another check, Kostya, just to make him go back. Always repeat. Russians repeat.
That's what I was doing. I was repeating. You can't decide which of us is Russian like that.
Kostya's got the street cred, man. He's got this Russian street cred. Rook D3, Kostya. Come on.
I know. That's the plan.
Oh, this ain't it, David. I'll tell you that right now. This ain't it, buddy.
My rook's still in the center. See? Look how Russian I am, Jesse.
Very Russian of you. Very Russian. Yeah. Oh, you made a good run of it.
All right, I give up.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So yeah, I'll say this. I want to reiterate something also to myself. One of the hardest things I preach it all the time, but the way to improve is to go over your games. And my intention is just, and really the intention of playing the tournament. Maybe this will be the case for you guys too. Was to get some games, that I played, even if it was with a mask, even if it was at 7 o'clock at night. And even if their quality isn't bad, just to have something to work with and think about what the hell it was I was doing. I really think that's the way to improve. And anyways, I had several other end games that were also played in the dead of night, where I didn't have the strength to win. And this particular one, I was up massively in time going into the end game, massively. So
Right.
it was really like, that's a feature of the game too, obviously, and of learning. And you guys are doing good work with this 30-second stuff, because that's the way it'll be in Vegas for sure. And that's 90 plus 30-second increment, right, Kostya?
Actually, I have to check.
And another half hour at move 40.
I think there's a second time control, yeah.
There is.
But yeah, this was good practice. Yeah, I tried not to look actually at too many of your end games, Jesse, because I thought we might see them on the stream sometime. But yeah, I remember thinking you would convert this one.
Oh, dude, for sure. And then at the end, oh, David, actually here, we'll end with a controversy. At the end, I totally blew it. I just missed something, and then I was lost, and the guy had like 2 seconds left on the clock, and I offered a draw. And he took it. And he took it.
Wow.
Oh, in this game.
Yeah, in this game at the end, I just blew it. I just hung a big pawn. Because I guess because I was exhausted, or because I'm old, or because I'm lame. Anyways, I hung it, and then I did the old GM trick, and I offered a draw, and the guy took it. Yeah. Yeah.
Cool.
Oh, come on, David. Don't say it's cool. I know you don't approve, buddy. You can tell it. You can tell it. You can tell it. You can say, David.
I don't care.
You don't approve of those draw offers, buddy. I know about
I
you.
don't care, man.
I know
You're
about
an old man at 1 a.m. It was past your bedtime. You're allowed to offer a draw in chess. I just choose not to, but you're allowed to. You play
What's
the
the point
game.
of being a GM if you can't get some, easy draws sometimes?
Petro, thank you for subscribing, my friend. Yeah, Charles Hamilton, I'm not going to be there, buddy. Not going to be there. I already had my tournament. I wish I could be in Vegas. I really enjoyed that tournament in the past. Just a lot of cool stuff going on. I will say this, guys. One thing just to maybe mentally prepare yourself for. This is a very interesting social thing. When people are walking around the tournament hall wearing masks, the whole social vibe of, like, let's say you're seeing old friends. Let's say, all the social interaction that you kind of grew up with and maybe took for granted, it's all sucked out of the room. There was no social interaction at all. Of course, no spectators there. And it's just so different too. Like when you're playing against somebody who has a mask on, it's almost like you're playing online, because it doesn't feel like a person across from you. It really feels different when they got the mask on. Anyways, that's my 2 cents about preparing yourself mentally for this mask thing, which I hope they change their mind. I think they should. I think enough people are Rather, I think the way they should do it is you go to the tournament, and if you can show a vaccination card, then you don't have to wear the mask. That's my own 2 cents. Yeah. All right, guys. Let's leave it there. I got a lesson a little bit. I'm going to be on, hopefully, much more in the next couple days. And we have to come up with a time for Dojo Talks. We haven't even figured it out yet. So that'll come up soon. We'll all be together
For
for
those
that.
of you watching right now, if anybody's going to go play in Vegas, 2 points. Number one, we've got a practice tournament tomorrow afternoon that's going to mirror exactly the format that you will have if you're in the beginner section, in the sort of like unrated provisional section in Vegas. So register for that if you want to get in some practice. If you can only play a couple rounds, it still practices the format. If you can play the whole 6 rounds, it'll practice the whole endurance and the whole everything. You'll be really set. It's the best possible thing you could do to get ready for Vegas. This tournament's costing a lot, Jesse. I mean, I'm spending like something like, well, more than $1,000, maybe like $1,500 on this tournament. So if you're going to spend $1,500 on a tournament, you might as well spend one afternoon.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
So anybody who's going, I would say you might want to get in some practice. Even if you have to call in sick to work for 3 hours in the afternoon, that's going to be a lot cheaper than going to Vegas and doing your practice in the actual tournament instead of before you get there. Secondarily, if anybody's playing in Vegas, I need a ride home from the tournament. So let me know if I can hitchhike with you. Otherwise, I'm going to buy another plane ticket today for my return flight. So, yeah, please go to Vegas and then drive me back. I'll pay for your gas.
Yeah, also let us know if you're going. We have like a little Discord group of everyone who's going to be in Vegas. We're going to do like a dojo meetup around there. So
I can pay for your gas or for your dinner if you give me a ride home.
Yeah, so get in touch if you're going.
DZ, man, I haven't heard the name, seen the name DZ in a long time, man. So nice to see you, DZ. Yeah, and I'll end with this. If you sub to the channel, that's known to be at least 5 rating points. I think follow is about 1 rating point. So there it is, man. There it is. Easy way to get some rating. All right, you guys, I'll end it there, and I'll be back soon. We will be back soon.